DP tweets.
She jinxed the no-hitter.
Tweets about how great the weather is. It's beautiful. The sun is shining. It's going to be a beautiful day. And has she been reading BBC weather, she would have known that it was not going to be that way. Well, we did Texans Unlimited. It was actually raining on us, but it stopped right before the game, so it was good.
It worked out. All right, your questions are coming in. Riddell has this. Are there any plans to add another wide receiver? I don't think so, Riddell. I think the Texans like who they have here in the building. They think what Kiki QT is going to bring to him when he comes back after the bye. Will Fuller, at some point, is going to be back after the bye, and you've been getting outstanding production like you always have for the last 6-7 years from DeAndre Hopkins, best receiver in the game. Kenny Stills has been an absolute revelation.
Wow.
And you think Steve Mitchell is somebody that's got a little future here. Yeah. Don't know how much we're going to see of him down the stretch when when these other pieces come back and get healthy, but out of that crew, I don't think you'll see the Texans really add a wide receiver unless something drastic happens injury-wise.
Depth-wise, I think this receiver group is as good as it's been in a while. And Stevie should actually score a touchdown when he went in the game the other day. He continued his route up the sideline. He was wide open. He just stopped his route. Probably not something that he's done a lot in practice because of that depth that he's not gotten as many reps as everybody else. But no excuse. So, but Stevie will give this team some great work when he gets in there. And one guy you didn't mention is DeAndre Carter. DeAndre Carter.
I don't know how.
Key catches the last couple of weeks. One against Oakland, a long one, and a third down catch the other day against Jacksonville. So he's giving them a good play. The key is getting Fuller and QT back into the fold, and then you kind of have dealer's choice of what you want to do and how you want to put these guys together on the field. But DeAndre Hopkins is having a great year. The yardage may not be what it typically is, but the catch numbers and the first down catches that he has made this year, outstanding.
Yeah.
I mean, just at the same level he always is.
He's essentially also strengthened your run game. He's like an extension of your run game with these short catches, and it's been great.
Point, That's exactly what he is. He has become like a third running back.
Because
he actually handed him the ball the other day, which is cool.
Because what he's doing, if he's not getting a first down, he's giving you chunks of yardage that's putting you in situations where it's like second and short or third and short, where you've got the defense absolutely on its heels. Okay, Eloy has this. What does the secondary need to do to improve?
Get healthy.
They got to get healthy. But, I think the secondary, with what's been out there, has played okay. Gary and Conley, in his second game with this team, leads the team in tackles, breaks up some passes.
Key passes.
Was an impact player. Now, how's he going to look once he gets all this other talent around it? I'm really excited about this move. It was a great move for the short term to patch a hole, but he was a first-round pick 2 years ago. I mean, he's the same draft as Deshaun Watson, so he's a young player. I mean, the arrow's pointing up with this guy, and I think he's in a better situation than he was in Oakland.
Yeah, I think you add Conley to a healthy Roby, to J-Joe, to Lonnie Johnson coming back at some point. I mean, I think you've got now depth at corner. You get Tashawn Gibson back at some point to add him in, and Jaleel Adai is giving some really good play. Mike Adams has stepped in and done some really nice things for you. The wily vet had to play a lot of plays the other day against Jacksonville, and he made some key tackles as well.
Yep.
Listen, I know the secondary has taken their lumps. They've faced Matt Ryan. They faced Phillip Rivers. They faced Drew Brees. They faced some of the best quarterbacks in the league.
You're 6-3, though.
Derek Carr, and they lived to tell about it. And they played pretty well at times. They faced Patrick Mahomes. Shut them down in the second half, basically.
Yeah.
So they've done some good things. Now, it's just a matter about being more consistent. And once you get Roby back, once you get Tashawn Gibson back, once you get the Lonnie Johnson back in the secondary, now you can start finding a groove, and you can get a rhythm going with those guys all together. Like, which guys are going to be on the field? Which guys do you need to have in this situation? You can play different combinations, which is kind of nice, and you can start keeping guys healthier as the season wears on.
You just said stay consistent, and I think that applies well to this next question, which is a good one from Rob. Rob wants to know, what do the Texans have to work on the most? I think staying consistent, really in all phases, is a big one, because we've seen some missed field goals, and that's not always just on the kicker. It's on the operation, on the snap, the hold. There's a lot of things that go into it. So I think you want to see consistency there. I think you want to see a continued improvement as far as staying clean with the football, not turning it over, and getting takeaways. That was one of the main points and main reasons this team won 11 games last year. They were really, really high in turnover differential, meaning they got way more takeaways than they did turn the ball over. So keeping those two things up are ways they can improve and get better.
I think one of the things that I would like to see them work on a little bit better or a little bit more, coming out of the gates and putting the ball in the end zone.
Yeah.
And look,
still haven't done that yet on the first drive of the game.
Right. In fact, they just got a score for the first time on the
That's
first
remarkable.
drive.
It's taking that long. Yeah.
And this offense has proven at times that it can go Mach 5 speed, that it can be just clearly unstoppable at times.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, that first drive out of the gate has just been kind of slow for them. So I'd like to see that. I'd like to see a vertical component come back in. And obviously, Will Fuller is a big part of that. But it feels like they've really gone kind of dink and dunk sort of things. And that's fine. That's fine. The tight ends have been very, very good. And Hops, like you said, he's being an extension of the run game. But I'd like to see that vertical component come back in. Jacksonville didn't give that to them, so they didn't take it. But Oakland gave it a couple times, I guess. But they just really haven't had that vertical component without Will in the lineup. And I think adding him back to the lineup will help with that. I think defensively, continued pass rush with 4 guys. Now, they did get some heat with 5 guys. A couple times they brought a couple linebackers up in the A-gaps, and that created confusion for Minshew. But I'd like to see them continue to get pass rush with 4 guys, because most of the time you're going to have, when you're sending 4, they'll have 5 to block 4.
Yeah.
But one guy's got to win. Somebody's got to win. So I'd like to see that. And then I think in the secondary, just getting guys healthy and then handling pick routes. Offense calls them rub routes. Defense calls them pick routes. They seem to do a better job with that against Jacksonville. They play a little bit more zone against Jacksonville. And so I'd like to see them be able to mix up man and zone such that they're not just getting picked off all the time, running, everybody run these man routes against them. But I understood why they had to do it, because everybody was so new.
Yeah.
Everybody was so new. I mean, you play a game against Indianapolis, you get Phillip Gaines, Keon Crossan, and Lonnie Johnson. Those are the 3 corners you have. And that was before you traded for Conley. Then you get in the Raiders game, and then Lonnie's out, and now you got Conley, Crossan, and Cornell Armstrong.
Yeah, their arms they've had one arm behind their back secondary-wise for a lot of this, like last month or so. William wants to know, what's the most important part of the bye week? And I'll give him 3 answers. Okay. The first one and the main one is get your injured guys healthy and ready to play.
Yep.
Get your guys who are playing and are dinged up healthy and back to as close to 100% as possible. 2, refresh, recharge, rejuvenate, whatever you want to say, your mind. You got to get away from the game if you're a player and just kind of reset. Mm-hmm. And number 3, and I want you to kind of expand on this and throw in anything else that you think I missed. But
sure.
Number 3, the coaches and the staff are doing self-scouting, meaning, hey, what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong that we got to correct? Mm-hmm. I mean, what can you expand upon there as far as the self-scouting? Because that's an important component of what we're doing this week.
It really is. Essentially what the coaching staff does is they sit down with all the game film, they go through it, and they look for some of their own tendencies, like some of the things that they do that maybe they might be tipping their hat. There was a lot of talk about that in the World Series and in the AL Championship.
Absolutely.
Where pitchers tipping pitches depending on how your hand is in all that kind of stuff.
You saw the Astros take advantage of that in Game 7
right.
a couple years ago when they lit up Yu Darvish.
Right. So that's the kind of thing in football you try and look for some of those things. Hey, when we come out in this formation, are we doing this? Hey, what's a wrinkle that we can have off of this? So you basically scout yourself. And sometimes what you do is you let your defensive film, your offensive coaches look at it. Sometimes your offensive film is looked at your defensive coaches. And then you share notes and say, hey, here's some of the things that we saw. Here's some things we saw. You put it all together. And then you say, okay, let's make these changes. Let's make these adjustments. We're doing this just fine. Hey, this is really tough to stop. Keep doing this. What's a wrinkle off of this that you can do? That's what the bye week is really for. You hit it. It's all those various things. The biggest one is just for the players getting some rest, getting back to health, full health, so they can be ready to go when they go to Baltimore.
All right, speaking of Baltimore, Edward and Ian have questions about the Ravens, and we're going to dive way farther into them later in the week. Basically about a week and change from today. But Ravens are really good. They're going to Cincinnati this weekend, probably going to get a win there, and they're going to be ready to go, waiting at home for the Texans. But you got a great guy at the back end of their defense in Earl Thomas, and they've got a quarterback in Lamar Jackson who can do a lot of different things. He's very similar in many ways to Deshaun Watson, but he's different in a whole lot more ways, and he's in a different type of offense than Watson is. So Texans have their hands full, but I'm pretty confident when you got a guy like Deshaun Watson under center, you can play anywhere, anytime, against anyone, and there's a good chance you're going to win.
Now, put it this way. The Ravens are as unique offensively and defensively as any team the Texans are going to see.
Yeah.
A lot of the NFL runs the same stuff. They run a lot of the same routes. When you see man coverage, they run rub routes. When you see zone coverage, there are different routes that teams are going to run. You see post-safety coverage, you're going to run this. Everybody kind of does the same thing, except these guys, especially offensively. Defensively, they like to blitz. Wink Martindale brings people from all over the place, so you're going to see a lot of blitz. So there's going to be a lot of hot routes, those kind of things. But they're very unique on both sides of the ball. And I think when you have a talent like Lamar Jackson, who's got the escapability and the speed, he runs in the 4.3 range.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody ever really knows what he ran because he didn't run at the combine. He was just like, I don't want to run because people think I'm a running back or a receiver. He has changed the game for them because they now went from being Joe Flacco led, drop in the pocket, we're going to do, kind of a normal NFL offense, to they do so many different things that NFL teams don't see every week. And that is a challenge in and of itself. So it's good to have the bye so you have a little extra time to prepare for that against especially that offense. Defensively, their defense, like you said, Earl Thomas, you'll look at them and go, I don't know any of these guys. Secondary is as good as it gets in the NFL. The front is maybe not what it's been in the past, but still pretty darn good. So it's going to be fun to get ready for those guys.
Hey, I'm going to brag on you for a sec because 2 years before he actually came out of college, so he played a year and then had his final year, and then he came into the draft. But that year, this guy was on the team plane when we leave on Saturdays to go to road games, calling it. You called Lamar Jackson is going to be a good NFL quarterback. I mean, and a lot of folks didn't think that. They said, he's got to change it.
He's running back. He's receiver.
Everything you're seeing right now, this guy kind of predicted. So kudos to you, my friend.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I gotta call it out when I see it. All right, please click on the link in the comments there for a chance to win tickets to the Colts game and an RTIC cooler. So you don't just get knowledge from him and a little bit from me. You might get tickets to a game and a cooler. So that's pretty cool, right?
That's very cool. You kidding me?
All right.
You get a cooler and ducats? Do it. And
Not bad.
to the Thursday night Colts game, that is going to be a raucous environment. You definitely want to be in there for that.
That's the next home game. So, hey, thanks to Tyler Marcotte for helping make this happen. Thanks to Amanda Caffey, or actually it's Amanda Caffey, for sending in and filtering out the questions and stuff like that. And thank you to you, John.
Thank you, Drew.
Thank you. Have a great break.
You have a great bye week.
Have a great bye week as well, friends, and we'll be back again very, very soon for another RTIC Cooler Talk.